The fan base is divided on how to even feel about the massive Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered accidentally leaking online and the screenshots that have appeared where most people seem to be taking the approach of, it looks all right. It is what it is. Some people are super excited about it. Others are saying it doesn't look very much improved from what it used to be back in 2006, which is, let's see, 19 years ago. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And yeah, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered is apparently a thing being launched, released as soon as the end of April 2025, which could be as soon as a week or two away from the release of this video. And I gotta be honest, my initial thoughts when I first saw these screenshots leaked were, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's really much better than the original. If anything, there are some aspects of the original game that look better than a remake of this game coming almost 20 years after the fact. At least we can hope that they fix the bugs, errors, glitches, problems, and clippings with the original. And if so, then yeah, I could get excited for this. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down all these leaked screenshots that have now been taken down and removed from Virtuous Games, which is where they were accessible via a publicly available link on the website. So yeah, this was, once it's on the internet officially, it's out there for good. Now, Bethesda or whoever could try to copyright strike or whatever they want to do, but these were publicly accessible images from the company themselves, and it's quite the massive oopsie when it comes to unveiling what was supposed to be a pretty big surprise. Not that they really should be too mad at the person that made the mistake. I mean, this already leaked out during the court document unveiling when Microsoft was first purchasing ZeniMax. The ZeniMax is the parent company of Bethesda, and in fact, believe it or not, prior to the lockdowns, this Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was originally supposed to be scheduled for release all the way back in 2022. Newly leaked images and details from the unannounced remastered version of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion have surfaced via Reddit, Reset Era, and X, hinting that the re-release will be arriving as soon as April 2025. But while Bethesda hasn't made any kind of official announcements yet, the leak of these publicly accessible images from the website of Virtuous Games outlines several interesting and quite noticeable changes that suggest to me that this remaster is far more than just a basic visual facelift. Now, first off, getting to the leak itself. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe that they did this on purpose, trying to drum up attention and get people talking about the game because, leak stuff always gets people talking. Well, the way that this got discovered leads me to believe that, it's just a massive oopsie on the part of the developer. The leak appears to have stemmed from a pretty major oversight on the developer's end, where the directory containing the website's images was not properly secured whatsoever, and as a result, the promotional materials and comparison screenshots for Oblivion Remastered were easily accessible and quickly spread like wildfire online. The entire site has now since been locked down, telling everyone that the damage control is well underway and in full swing, and the leak itself has fueled quite the discussion on X. Oblivion Remastered is now the hot topic across all of social media, really. The cat's out of the bag, and it would seem like the community is quite divided on how they're supposed to even feel about this. Because honestly, just looking at the screenshots, comparing them to the original, I guess you could say they look as good as it did in 2006. There are some parts that you could even argue look better. And there are some parts we could argue where it looked better in 2006. And now we're, like I said, 19 years fast forward to the present and saying, I can't really tell which one's even the remaster. Yikes. But on top of the screenshots, according to the information I've been seeing circulating around today, and shout out to Legacy Killer HD for the information on X, the remaster features several mechanical updates as well, including blocking mechanics that are now reportedly inspired by Souls-like games, implying a shift towards a more deliberate timing-based combat. And there are sneak indicators now that have been reworked to be more prominent, making stealth play easier to track. There's also a stamina system that's been adjusted, potentially affecting how players manage sprinting and melee actions. The heads up display has also been overhauled for a cleaner, more modern look. The hit reactions have been added, giving more combat, more weight, and more responsiveness. And the archery mechanics have also been revamped, suggesting that there's been a more refined approach to the ranged combat. So, sure, we can get hung up on the graphics all day, but if there are quality of life improvements that bring this game up to modern era standards where it's actually a better overall experience to play it, I'm all for it. Gameplay improvements sound pretty promising on paper, and the visuals are sparking mixed reactions everywhere. In my opinion, the remaster doesn't exactly scream 20 years of progress. It doesn't look terrible by any stretch, don't get me wrong, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the original Oblivion that launched back in 2006 had a certain vibrance to its world, lush greenery, bright skies, and a colorful aesthetic that made it feel alive. Maybe it will be fine and just takes some getting used to. I don't want to come across as overly harsh, but at the same time, I'd be remiss if I didn't share initial concerns about the leaked screenshots. They reveal major changes that, in my view, strip away much of what made the original so visually distinct. The ruins that were once bright, magical, and almost glowing with a bluish hue are now looking more like a dull brownish hue, and massive concrete structures everywhere. The originally vibrant and colorful landscapes that gave Oblivion its own southern European feel, lush greenery, thick forests, and moss covered medieval bridges, have all seemingly been replaced with sparse vegetation and environments that look more like the American West than any kind of high fantasy setting. Even small details like the rough, uneven textures of the original bridges have been swapped out for smoother, more modern looking construction that doesn't quite fit the original medieval aesthetic. And again, I know it kind of feels like I'm nitpicking here, but this is what you get with some leaked screenshots. You want to look at them and see what they're doing with the game that is beloved by so many. And honestly, I'm getting stuck on what they did to the changes of the Spriggan redesign. And if this is what they're going to be moving forward with, the once very hyper sexualized tree styled woman that was very sexy is now more broad shouldered and masculine looking, which is just weird that they keep going this direction with modern women and feminine forms in gaming. I don't know why these developers are so afraid to put a beautiful girl or the feminine figure in a game anymore, but this is yet another example where it looks like they're widening all the aspects of the girl to make it look more like a dude. Again, it's just a little strange. And I'm clearly not alone. Coffee and Chocolate Games said, the bottom pictures look different, but if the point was to portray a devastated landscape, the new one wins. As for these two, well, clearly the original had a greater appreciation for the aesthetic. Gentile says, Spriggan looks off in the remastered version. Hard to say if they'll touch or censor designs like the Spider Daedra as well. Sinjun45 on X said, the forests, the lakes, they all look far more alive in the original than they do in this remake they are working on. The remake might be more detailed, but it looks so washed out, it looks like a dying land, not a vibrant one. So clearly that's what they're going for, at least if you're going to do a direct comparison between the original Oblivion and the remastered version. And there are going to be some people that look at this saying, yeah, it's fine, who cares, whatever. It just looks better and has modern day updates to it. I'm all for it. But then the purists of Oblivion are going to look at this and say, yeah, no, this ain't my Oblivion, and I'm not on board with it. Dead Cell said, at best, it seems like color filters could be adjusted if you want your green hills back exactly as they were. Certainly not a deal breaker compared to the glitch fest and crashing, making the game impossible to play today, which is an excellent point to counter all of this. Whereas the original was known for tons of crashes, glitches, bugs, breaking the game, getting stuck in spots, clipping through walls, like everything that happened back in the original one, people are forgetting about when they get frustrated seeing a remaster. If this remaster fixes many, if not all of those issues, then clearly it would be welcomed by the vast majority of people. While I do find some of the changes, like the new sword or boat and water effects, are perfectly fine and definitely improved over the predecessor, they don't make up for how much character overall has been lost in translation. It's hard to believe anyone with a genuine passion for Oblivion's original atmosphere was behind these changes that I'm seeing in these pictures. This is just my initial take on the leak, but who knows if there's far more to it and if there's still some hidden behind the scenes stuff just waiting to be unveiled officially. Time will tell, but you're probably not going to have to wait too long, because if the leaked release window is accurate, Oblivion Remastered could be hitting shelves within just a matter of weeks from this video. Of course, it's going to be including a deluxe edition, and whether this is going to be enough to rekindle some of the magic that the original had remains to be seen, but I'm sure that we'll no doubt be keeping a close eye on what Bethesda has to say or not say about this game in the coming days or weeks ahead. I am genuinely interested to hear what you guys think about these screenshots, if it's too little to even have an opinion formed on it, or if you've never even played Oblivion before in the past and you're kind of open to the idea of it now that this is being remastered. If they fix all the glitches and bugs in it, it looks perfectly fine to you. I know that there are going to be some purists out there that are completely rejecting this based off of what they grew up with, but I feel like this is one of those games that is going to create a little bit of a divide in the community based off of what I've seen so far. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link this in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
I was the kid. I was writing games when I was, 12, whatever, and the other kids in the block would say, I'm going to play quarterback for the Cowboys, and I'd be like, I'm going to make video games, and everyone's going to play them. Like, you dork. Go back to the chess club. Who's laughing now? Yes, I was in the chess club. Smash,